Hello, folks. Welcome to your new favorite cricket fan channel, Willow and Leather. This is Shravan joining you from the car today. Just wanted to do a quick update as BCCI has just a couple of hours ago released the details of the 15-man squad for India traveling to the World Cup in the West Indies and the US. So yeah, I have a pretty busy day ahead of me. So I thought I'll just take a few minutes out now to do a quick video and summarize the selection in general. Right. I think overall a very solid squad that they've put together. A couple of surprise. Omissions and a couple of surprise inclusions in there. But I think every single player at the end of the day who's in that roster of 15 has well and truly earned their spot in there. So you can't really have too much of heartache about any one person being included. Yes, it is a tough loss for some of the folks who couldn't really make the cut this time around. But having said that, I think all in all, in summary, it looks like a very strong squad that the team has put together. Right, so we'll go through the 15-man squad very quickly, and they also have selected 4 traveling reserves who basically will be traveling with the squad, but aren't necessarily part of the team, and they can only be included in that 15-man squad. If one of those members in the starting 15 becomes unavailable for whatever reason, and they have to go through like a few paperwork details and get approval from ICC to be able to bring them in. But for the sake of availability, they will be traveling with the squad and be available, to play if needed in a couple of days' notice. Right. So that's the whole concept behind the traveling reserves there. So the 4 traveling reserves: Shubman Gill, which is kind of an interesting omission from the playing 15, I guess. But again, like I said, all the other players in that starting 11 definitely, or in the starting 15, definitely deserving their spots. So Shubman Gill, Rinku Singh, Avesh Khan and Khalil Ahmed are the 4 traveling reserves. I was a little bit surprised by Rinku Singh's omission particularly, but again, like I said, I think there are a couple of things that the team needs to look at balancing out in their starting 15, which is why I think they were forced to let Rinku Singh sit out and be a part of that traveling reserve squad. But right, let's get on to the main 15 guys who will be in action, of course. Starting with the captain himself, the hitman Rohit Sharma, first name on the list. Has done exceptionally well as a captain, especially in the last couple of years, taking the team, from strength to strength. Has the support of the entire squad as well, has led very well, and is very personable and relatable, and knows exactly how to get the best out of his team. And as a batsman as well, I think we have seen him coming to his best over the last couple of years. We all saw how exceptionally good and destructive he was in the ODI World Cup that just happened late last year too. So I think he will definitely look to continue that sense of aggression at the top of the order, and absolutely perfect person to be leading the team. Alongside him, the other opener slotted in this starting 15 is Yashasvi Jaiswal. Again, one of those players who has done incredibly well in those opportunities that he's got playing for India over the last year and a half. Whatever chances he's been given, he's grabbed them with both hands and some. And being a left-handed option, I think it is very important for him to be there, because as we go into the World Cup, facing different kind of bowling attacks, I think that left-right combination will be an important one. But obviously a tough miss for someone like Shubman Gill. But just based on some of the recent form, I think Yashasvi Jaiswal definitely makes the cut and deserves to be there, rightfully so. That should be the opening pair. And at number 3, we have the king himself, Virat Kohli. For anyone who was even doubting for a second that he won't make it to the squad for whatever reasons, I think you have to be delusional not to have someone like a Virat Kohli in the team. Absolute legend, brings a lot of stability to that batting order, and the experience chase master, the king himself. So we've all seen the kind of impactful match-winning roles and innings that he's played over the years in various ICC tournaments. So absolutely a critical piece of the puzzle for India's success in the World Cup will be Virat Kohli. Now, on Crickbuzz earlier, a couple of days ago, Simon Dool did this interesting piece where he predicted his 11 or his 15 for the World Cup. And there he mentioned a very interesting thing that, he wouldn't mind seeing Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli opening the innings. That way we can slot in another player at number 3, and you don't necessarily have to have someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal in the playing 11. Jaiswal obviously is an incredible inclusion into the squad and is that destructive and aggressive opener. But having said that, I think we've all seen the different facets or the different gears at which Virat Kohli can play or pace his innings as well. And if the team is looking to be ultra aggressive this time, which I think they should be, given the strength in their batting, I think they should try and maximize Virat Kohli's impact. And I think just giving him a free rein to go and unleash himself, I think that might be a great bet for the team. And if it comes off, I think it'll be exceptionally good. So what better place to do that than right at the top of the innings? I think him and Rohit Sharma partnering together and setting the tone for the team, I think that sounds like a very exciting prospect. Now, what that does is opens up a few more slots lower in the order, but we'll get to that. So those are the top 3 selections. The number 4, who's the other specialist batsman in this team, is that man Sky himself, Surya Kumar Yadav. Walks into pretty much any T20 team in the world at any given point of time, right? He's that kind of a genuine class player, match winner, and can set the tempo or continue the tempo. If the top order has laid that foundation, he can come in at number 4 and really keep that momentum going with his aggression and his skill. So yeah, absolute walk-in, not just in the 15, but will be definitely walking into that starting 11 day in, day out as well. So that's Surya Kumar. So those are the 4 batters, and now we have the 2 wicket keepers in the squad. First up, Rishabh Pant. Absolutely excited for him to be making his way back into the team now. Has done very well in terms of recovering from his injury. His physical ability and his strength seems to be back. He's been keeping pretty effectively in this IPL as well, and with the bat too. I think he's shown definite signs of aggression and touch in equal measure. And I think before his unfortunate accident, he was a shoo-in into any T20, not necessarily T20, but he was at least a shoo-in into the Indian squad and the Indian lineup. And I think he merits his place back, given he's fit enough and at least in some sort of batting touch, which he definitely is. So I think it makes sense for him to be included as a part of that starting 15. And I think he'll be our first choice wicket keeper as well. Right. So that was the other thing that Simon Dool mentioned, right? So having Virat Kohli open, it gives you the flexibility to bring in someone like a Rishabh Pant to bat at number 3. That way you have a lefty coming in between the openers and the middle order, which will be a good inclusion. And he again can continue that platform set up by the openers, or even if we've lost an early wicket, he can be someone who still continues to be aggressive with his unique approach and that X factor that he brings to the team. I think that could be a very interesting ploy, batting Pant at 3 with Virat Kohli opening. But even otherwise, I think even if Kohli is batting down at 3, we'll have Surya Kumar at 4 and Rishabh Pant at 5. So that still makes for a good top 5 as well. Right, so the other wicketkeeper included in the squad of 15 is Sanju Samson. The man finally gets a chance to be a part of a World Cup squad. This is his first time ever being a part of the World Cup squad for India in any format. I'm sure he'll be absolutely over the moon, and rightfully so. I think he has well and truly deserved this opportunity to be in this squad of 15. Has done incredibly well over the last couple of years, shown a lot of maturity, and especially this season, he's kind of lived up on that promise. Not just getting starts and getting out with like cheap shots later, but actually carrying his bat through in multiple innings. And you can look at him and tell that he really wants to be a part of the squad. Just the way he's been approaching the game, and leading the side very well too. But more than the leadership aspect, I think the team will be focusing on his batting abilities, and I think he's a great inclusion as well. Now, whether he gets a nod ahead of Rishabh Pant, that remains to be seen. I really doubt if that will happen. But in case Rishabh Pant is not 100%, or if he's out of touch, exceptional alternative to bring into the playing 11 will be Sanju Samson. So those are the two wicket keeping options. Now, what does that mean? Unfortunately for KL Rahul, he doesn't make it in the squad. But I actually wasn't very surprised by it, just because over the last 6 to 8 months, although KL Rahul was available, BCCI had decided not to go with him in the T20 format. I think they're looking at him more as an ODI specialist and as an option for test matches as well, but not really looking at him as a potential long-term option for T20 cricket at this point. Right, so tough luck for him. Misses out, but yeah, I think between Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson, I think we have the keeping and the batting kind of sorted, and they bring a lot more aggression into the batting as well, compared to what KL Rahul would have been able to bring. So I think, well-deserved selection for Sanju Samson. I'm sure he'll be very excited about it, as will all his fans be as well. But I think it's a very good inclusion into the team. Right. So that makes the top six. Now we'll get into the all-rounders. So we have 4 all-rounders this time. Starting off with Hardik Pandya. So Hardik Pandya, obviously, despite everything that's been going around since the IPL started, all the controversy around that, I think he still is one of those few medium pace all-rounders that the country has been able to produce, and I think he definitely still merits a place, not just in the 15-man squad but also in the starting 11. I think there are two areas where India has had trouble in the past and have unfortunately not been able to address it over the last several years as well, right? One is the lack of bowling options in the top 5. When you look at the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, yes, Virat Kohli can roll his arm over, but you don't necessarily look at him as a bankable 2-3 overs kind of a bowler. Rohit Sharma, unfortunately, for the last several years hasn't been able to bowl because of problem in his finger. And then you look at the likes of Yashasvi Jaiswal, Surya Kumar Yadav. All these guys don't really give you a few handy overs with the ball, which has been a big miss for the Indian team. And unfortunately, they still haven't found a solution for that. Longer term, I think we will have to try and see how we can get some overs out of some of the longer term prospects for the Indian batting order, like Yashasvi Jaiswal, for example. He can roll his arm over, but I think he'll need a lot more practice and dedicated focus to be able to do that. But at least for this tournament, we are very light on getting some overs in from some of the top order batsmen, which is unfortunate. The other thing that we are light on is also some batting ability from our bowling department. Again, that's a glaring hole that we've had for the last several years. Yes, folks like Bumrah have stepped up a little bit with the bat, but not really as impactful, I guess, and not really as bankable. When you look at teams like Australia, you have the likes of Pat Cummins and Mitchell Stark there, who are no mucks with the bat and can definitely provide a lot of handy runs lower down the order. Or if you need someone to hold one end while there is a set batsman on the other side, these guys can do that job exceptionally well. Unfortunately for India, we do not have that luxury. And those two challenges mean that we have to rely on 2 or 3 specific all-rounders to be able to fill in those roles for the team and help get that team balance with some additional bowling options as well. So that's where Hardik Pandya, I think, becomes absolutely crucial for this team. Being that medium pace all-rounder, I think his batting has kind of dipped a little bit ever since his injury in the ODI World Cup. Coming back into the IPL, he's not really set the world on fire with his batting skills, nor with his bowling skills either, unfortunately. But I think he still warrants that place in the squad, primarily because I think there are a lot of factors in the IPL which aren't necessarily going to be the same as they would be in an ICC tournament. For example, the impact player rule itself is not something that we have to deal with. So the batsmen in general might be a little less aggressive at the top as well. And a lot of other factors come into the picture. Things like with his bowling ability, he's someone who can swing the ball pretty well. But unfortunately, the match balls that have been used in this IPL have been very low quality as well. So there's barely any swing, if at all. The ball swings for the first over, and then there's literally no swing. But in the ICC tournaments, we will have better quality balls, which should swing for a little bit longer as well. That's where someone like a Hardik Pandya can be handy as a third seamer in the power play too. So I think it'll be good to have him in that roster. And yeah, I think it'll be a big tournament for him, especially with all the flack that he's been getting, this season in the IPL. I think this is his golden opportunity to win the fans over. And what better platform to do it than while representing India in the World Cup. So I think it'll be a big tournament for him. So that's all-rounder number one. The other medium pace all-rounder in the squad is Shivam Dube. Absolutely great to see him being a part of this starting 15 as well. Brings a lot of ability to be aggressive in those middle overs, particularly against spin. We've all seen the kind of destructive force he can be in the last couple of years in the IPL, especially against spin. But this season he's also shown good ability to navigate those pacers and navigate those short pitch deliveries, which were considered a weak area for him too, and he's done well to improve on those areas as well. So he definitely adds a lot of muscle in that middle order to be able to provide some hitting ability, particularly against the spin. I think he's probably the best batsman against spin in the playing 15 for us. So I think it'll be a good value add for the team. Excuse me. Bowling wise, unfortunately, this IPL again, with the impact player rule, he's not necessarily had to bowl for his franchise in IPL, which I think is an absolute shame. This IPL could have been a great opportunity for us to bring some of these all-rounders into the mix as much as possible, giving them the needed game time, performing both roles. But unfortunately, Shivam Dube hasn't bowled a ball this IPL. But still doesn't take away from his ability to bowl a couple of overs if needed in the middle as well. But I think they'll be looking at Dube as mostly a power hitting batsman in the middle and not necessarily a bowling option. But having talked earlier about the dearth of bowling options in the top of the order, I think they will still like to have him as a backup bowling option as needed too. Right, so those are the two medium pace all-rounders, and then we have two spin all-rounders, starting off with Ravindra Jadeja. Again, someone who's been hard to replace in the Indian team. I'm still not very confident about his batting abilities, particularly in the T20 game. I think he's a great addition when it comes to Test cricket. Adds probably some value with the bat in ODI cricket as well. But when it comes to T20 cricket, I think it's been a long time since he's had a match-winning innings or a game-turning or a game-changing kind of an innings playing for India. But because of the lack of batting depth in our tail, you are forced to play someone like a Ravindra Jadeja. I think as a bowler, he's exceptionally great. But I think it's the ability to be able to bat that kind of brings him into the playing 11, and I think he will probably just walk into the playing 11 as well. As I mentioned, just because of the lack of batting depth lower in the order, they will want Jadeja at number 8 hopefully, but depending on how the combination sets up, he might have to bat up at 7 as well, which means if he's batting at 7, numbers 8 through 11 aren't really giving you anything with the bat, which is unfortunate. But I think that is where Ravindra Jadeja finds his value in the team and finds his place in the team, to be able to at least provide some sort of stability and some batting option lower in the order. But yeah, I think the team will be relying very heavily on the top 6 to do bulk of the scoring this time. And the other spin bowling all-rounder in the squad is Akshar Patel. Now again, Akshar has been someone who's done reasonably well over the last couple of years in the IPL. Seems to do a lot better at home. This will probably be one of his first away tours, so it'll be very interesting to see how he does overseas on pitches in the West Indies and in the US. But again, I feel like Not someone who would probably be in my pick for the top 15, but because of the lack of depth in our batting lower down the order, you need someone to be a backup to Ravindra Jadeja, because, God forbid, Jadeja picks up a niggle or an injury midway through the tournament. That is a gaping hole in the middle, and you're suddenly down to just six batsmen, with no real batting strength coming from number 7 through 11, right? That is where I think again Akshar Patel adds value. I think he's a like for like replacement for Ravindra Jadeja, and I think he will get a look in to be a part of the playing 11 if and only if Jadeja is unavailable for whatever reason. Right, so those are the four all-rounders, and to round it off, we have five bowlers in there. Starting off with the spinners, first up is Kuldeep Yadav. Absolutely great to see him being a part of this squad. I think he's been one of the most improved bowlers over the last 2 or 3 years, playing for India and in the IPL as well. Does exceptionally well. Has picked up wickets consistently. Sometimes tends to go for a little bit of for a few runs at least, but always has that ability to pick up wickets. And I think in some of the Caribbean and the US pitches, which I'm suspecting to be a little bit sluggish and the ball might just hold up a little bit, I think he'll definitely be a fantastic addition, and I think he'll definitely be my number one wrist spinner to make it into that starting 11 as well. The other spinner selected in the squad is, surprise, surprise, Yuzvendra Chahal. Now again, surprise for a few of us, I guess, but probably not for some of you. Again, absolutely well deserved. Has done fantastically well over the last several years now in the IPL. The guy hasn't really done anything wrong to not be picked in the squad. But I guess there is just so much fierce competition right now, that every single chance and every single opportunity matters to be able to crack your way into this Indian squad. And I think he's done enough to justify his spot. And again, I think they're just opting to go for more experience in that bowling attack. And someone like a Yuzvendra Chahal just brings tons and tons of experience with him. And he has the ability and the guile to be able to be successful on any kind of a surface, right? We've seen him be successful on absolute belters of pitches like the Chinnaswamy for years and years now as well. And he's equally good on other kinds of spin friendly wickets too. So I think he's a great addition. But that unfortunately means that Ravi Bishnoi misses out. Tough luck for the kid, primarily because he's been India's go-to leg spinner over the last year and a half or so, when some of these other senior players have been out resting. I think Ravi Bishnoi has been incredibly fantastic with the ball, providing key breakthroughs whenever he's had the opportunity to play, and he's done very, very well in those opportunities that he's got. Unfortunately, though, does miss out, but I think Yuzvendra Chahal, just the experience that he brings with him, I think will be a great inclusion. Again, now I'm not expecting Chahal to be in the starting 11. I think I'll still go with Kuldeep Yadav at the beginning of the tournament. But if Kuldeep doesn't really hit the ground running and has a couple of off games, you always have the luxury of falling back to someone like a Yuzvendra Chahal to take the team forward. Right, so those are the two spinners, and then the final three are our pace bowlers. Starting off with Jasprit Bumrah, again, absolute walk-in into any team anywhere in the world. Fantastic bowler, both with the new ball and in the death, but also in the middle overs as well, right? I mean, how many times have we seen it, right? When the captain needs a breakthrough in the middle overs as well, Bumrah is the man to go to, and he's just one of those bowlers that can bowl at any given point of the innings. I'd love to see him open with the new ball, which he hasn't been able to do in the Mumbai Indians camp this time around. But I think when it comes to Indian colours, I think he'll be back opening the bowling for the team. And incredibly devastating at the death overs as well. So fantastic addition. Great to see him kind of being fully fit and firing on all cylinders in this IPL. The other pace bowler is Arshdeep Singh. Again, fantastic performances over the last couple of years, not just in the IPL, but more importantly in Indian colours as well. I think while Jasprit Bumrah was out, he has single-handedly led the bowling attack, particularly in the T20 format. Being effective at the top, but more so at the death. I think his ability to bowl those Yorkers has been exceptionally good. Not had the most awesome IPLs thus far this year, but I think still has a lot of potential and has the skill to be able to really make an impact in any kind of a game. And I think what he will benefit from is having someone like a Bumrah on the other side to kind of guide him through the innings and through different parts of the match. So I think he will be an exceptionally good partner to bowl alongside Jasprit Bumrah. And the best part about both those bowlers is that they can start the innings well and they can finish the innings well as well. So those are the two pacers. And the last pacer, rounding off the squad of 15, is Mohammad Siraj. Again, I think a well justified inclusion in the team. Yes, he's not had the best of IPLs this year. But when the ball does a little bit, I think he can be as devastating as anyone at the top of the innings, and that's where his value lies. I think being that wicket taker in the power play, tough. It's been tough for him this time around in the IPL. Not really being able to do much with the ball, even in the power plays. But I think in an ICC tournament, I think he finds another gear to his bowling, and I think the ball quality also definitely helps, and I think he can be more than a handful too. Not as amazing in the death overs as Bumrah or Arshdeep, which is why I don't anticipate him to be in the starting 11, but absolutely fantastic backup option to have if either one of the pacers isn't available, or just depending on the deck or the pitch, if you feel like you need to go in with three genuine pacers, and then you always can bring him into the playing 11. Although my preference would be Bumrah and Arshdeep, and then Hardik Pandya as your third seam bowling option, with Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja as your fourth and fifth bowlers, and someone like a Shivam Dube available as your number 6 option if need be. Right, so that is the squad of 15. Again, just to recap: Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson, Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dube, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, Yuzvendra Chahal, Jasprit Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh, and Mohammad Siraj. That's a squad of 15. And then the travelling reserves are Shubman Gill, Rinku Singh, Avesh Khan, and Khalil Ahmed. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a fairly strong squad that the team has, that BCCI has put together. Yes, just given the quality of players that we have and the depth that we have in the Indian ranks, I think there are going to be a few names that would have to miss out, which is tough pill to swallow for some of them, I'm sure, as is for probably a lot of the fans as well. But I think all in all, I think the selectors have done a very solid job with the squad that they've picked. And yeah, it's time for us to back that squad, and hopefully we can go all the way this time and bring a trophy home. It's been like so many years since we've won an ICC tournament. Hopefully we can break that jinx and really perform to our best and bring that trophy home. All right, well, pretty long video, I guess, but thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. Just wanted to do a quick recap as soon as this news came out about the squad of 15. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Shravan with Willow and Leather, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.